Hi, this is Diane Lovetobake on YouTube, and what we're going to make are cookies. We're going to be making oatmeal crinkle cookies. It's a very easy recipe, and for some of you folks that have watched my videos before, you know I like them easy, I like them quick, but I want them to taste good, and this is a cookie that does meet all the requirements. So let's get started. First off, you can use your hand mixer if you prefer. I like to use my stand because of the video, and I think it's a lot faster that way for me. Now I'm going to warn you about the sound because some people say it's a little too loud for them, so I'll give you a heads up right before I put it on, okay? And we'll start making these oatmeal crinkle cookies. First, we're going to start off with 1 cup of solid shortening. Now, if you don't like solid shortening, maybe this isn't the cookie for you. Well, I've got over, oh my gosh, I think I've got over 700 videos of all kinds of cookies and baked goods and doughs and breads. I know you'll find a lot of oatmeal cookies on there if you don't like using the solid shortening. The solid shortening, though, does give quite a great texture to these cookies. They're crispy, yet they're still chewy and moist. I might get a question or two, you know, have I used butter in this recipe? No. I've only used and found tried and true is with the solid shortening. So that's 1 cup, and I'm just going to put that into my mixer. And I'm going to warn you about the sound, and then I'm just going to break it up, cream it up a little bit. And that won't take you very long at all. The next thing you're going to be putting in and creaming with the solid shortening is 1 cup of granulated sugar. And I'm turning it on. The next thing we're going to be putting in is 1 cup, and you can see, I left it so you can see, solidly pack your cup of brown sugar. Now you can use the, light brown or the dark, it's up to you. And now I'm going to turn it up a little bit, so warn you about the speed because I want to get this all creamed together. I generally am working at a lower speed when I'm not doing a video, but I turn it up because I don't want to bore you folks. I want to get the video done kind of quick. Now, once you combine all that, and that might take you 2 minutes, it might take you 3. It really depends on your mixer, the speed of your mixer, and all that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to beat in 2 eggs that I've had at room temperature, and we're going to do those one at a time. Now, stay with that and cream it nicely. And again, it might take you 2 minutes, 3 minutes. That's why I raised my speed. But you can see how nicely it's combined. Okay, and I'm going to clean the sides of my mixing bowl, get to the bottom a little bit because that's where it tends to stick. Okay, we're also going to be putting in a teaspoon of vanilla. So we'll put that in now. And then we're also going to be putting in almond extract, okay? But we're going to put 1/4 teaspoon of the almond extract. Okay. That was 1/4. Now I no longer put the recipe below the video, so if you are taking notes, I hope I'm going slow enough and clearly enough that you can jot them down. Okay, that was 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Now once you get that nice and smooth, and again, might take you a couple minutes, let's work on the dry. The next thing we're going to work on is all-purpose flour. You're going to need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, okay? You're also going to put a teaspoon of baking powder in there, 1 teaspoon. You're going to put a teaspoon of baking soda, and you're going to be putting a teaspoon of salt. And then with my little whisk here, I'm just going to stir it together. You don't have to be real fussy with it, but I do like to combine it. All right. And then I'm going to slowly introduce the dry with the wet ingredient at a lower speed so flour doesn't go all over the kitchen. And then I'll raise it as I know I can mix it, and then add some more flour at a lower speed. And you'll know when to add it, when it all combines. But a little at a time, I think it gives you a much better mixture. Okay, that's the rest of the dry ingredients, so let's beat those in. And now I'm going to turn it up just so that it starts cleaning the sides of that bowl. All right, I'll show you what I got so far, and this is what it'll look like. Okay. Oh, it smells so good, especially with the brown sugar in these cookies. Oh, so good, especially when you're baking them. Okay, the next thing, of course, is the oatmeal. So you're going to need 2½ cups of oats. Just the regular. Now the machine's going to struggle a little bit, so I got to use a higher speed, so warn you of the sound. All right. The last thing that you're going to put in is raisins. Now, use whatever type of raisin that you like. I'm using brown raisins. You can use golden if you prefer. But you need 1½ cups of raisins. Now you can surely fold those in if you want. I think it's much easier to use the mixer because you can hear the mixer struggling a little bit. Now, you're also going to be rolling these cookies in cinnamon sugar. So you need 1/4 cup of granulated sugar to a teaspoon of cinnamon, and then I went ahead and I just stirred it together, okay? So now I'm going to take my paddle out, excuse me, take off the excess and put that aside, and then I can show you what the cookie dough looks like. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir here and move it around a little bit. Make sure that it's all mixed on the bottom. Okay, and this is how it's going to look when it comes out. You can see your cookie dough. Now, let me rinse my hands real quick. Now, what you're going to need is either a greased cookie sheet or pan, or use your silicone mats or your parchment paper. It's really up to you. But if you are going to grease, I would use more than just the oil spray, that kind of thing. But you decide whether you want to use an oil or solid shortening, or the papers, or like I said, your mats, your silicone mats, baking mats. The next thing that you're going to do is you want to take about a 1-inch ball, okay, and just roll it in your hands like that. And it's very easy to, it's not real sticky, it's not real messy. and that kind of thing. And then just roll it in your sugar. Now you might say, gee, I don't know, a quarter cup of sugar, that doesn't sound like a lot. How am I going to run out? Well, if you do run out, just make a little bit more, you know, and just kind of guess how much you might need. Use maybe, you know, 1/8 of a cup the next time, or that kind of thing. And then just lay them about 2 inches apart on your tray. Now, they are going to spread out a little bit, but because they're crinkled, they're going to have kind of a broken or a cracked top to them, so they won't be perfectly smooth or anything. Now, I'm not going to bore you with about rolling an inch ball of cookie dough and then rolling it in the cinnamon sugar. But you're going to bake these at 350 degrees, and they're going to take you anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes. Now, if you do overbake them, they are still delicious, but they are harder to eat because they're drier, you know. And I think you really want to kind of bake them where they can still be baked well, but when you break them open, they'll have a nice chew to them. So I'm going to wash my hands quickly here because I was working with raw egg dough and handling cookie dough. And then I want to show you what they look like once they are baked up. I like to start checking mine at, believe it or not, around 6 minutes or so. And you know, because our oven's all set up so differently. And if you are working with 2 trays, of course, I'm sure I don't need to tell you, you know, to rotate your trays. Now, this is how they turn out. They will have a cracked top to it, as I mentioned. You'll see the glistening of the sugar. They'll have a nice golden brown on the bottom. If you go for a deeper color than this, they will be harder cookies, you know, and you might not like them. So you don't want to overbake them. And I have one here just to show you that when you break them open, they will have a bit of a chew to them, okay? Let me show you another one, just to give you a better example. So it'll have a hard bottom and a hard top, but it'll have those cuts or those crinkles in there on the top. So when you break into them, they're going to have the integrity of a crisp cookie, but on the inside, it'll have that chewiness to it. So they're not incredibly hard unless you know, over bake them. But when you squeeze them, and I don't know if you can see that or not, but they do come together because they have that bit of a chew when you bite down. They really are delicious cookies, especially if you like oatmeal, you like brown sugar and cinnamon. I think you're going to like these cookies, and they're relatively easy to make. They really are. Now, you should get about 5 dozens or maybe a little less. It really depends how large you make the ball of cookie dough. You know, try 1 inch or so. And remember, 2 inches apart, okay? And you really don't want to overbake them. I think you'd enjoy them for them that they're crisp, but yet they have a chewy center to them. Oh, they are so good with a cup of coffee or a cup of tea, or just a glass of cold milk. They are so, so good. Now, I want to remind you real quick to please solely watch me on YouTube. You know, it's the only place that I put my videos. And if you try this recipe and you liked it, leave a comment because I'd like to hear from you. But I also want to remind you to watch me solely on YouTube, because if you write me, and I'm not alone on this, so many people have taken my work, other people, their work is the same thing. They take it, they pin it, they claim it as theirs. I see that you've written to me or asked me a question and I can't answer you, and it is so frustrating. And that's one of the reasons why I no longer put the recipe below my video. So if you give these a try though, please let me know. Tell me how they turned out, or if you liked them. If you're so inclined and you'd like to subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic. Or give the video a like. I can't thank you enough. So I want to thank you again for watching Diane Lovetobake on YouTube. Stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.